social media and the internet wasn't around 20 years ago when you were still touring the world doing this stuff. How has that affected everything that was already there with all of our other structures and programs?
Well, today we can sit in in my case, a hotel, and reach millions of people in an hour sitting in a hotel room. And that wasn't available. It used to be that the sage on the stage kind of approach. Now we can sit there and reach literally millions of people. I did a show the other day to 52 million people live right there on the spot while I was in a hotel room in Florida. And I think wasn't possible. But now with social media and electronics and things, we can do things that we couldn't imagine. We can reach people and make a difference. There's no human being, no matter where they are in the world, that can't make the difference if they consistently and persistently focus on what's priority and watch themselves emerge.
The other problem is now, though, you can conveniently compare yourself to everyone else, millions in the world, and maybe get sidetracked to that agenda, that agenda, that agenda. I mean, you go spin it flicking through Instagram and you'll see someone with a better family than you, a better body than you, more money than you, a greater purpose than you, a better TED Talk than you. How does that infect society on the downside?
Well, it's not the social media. You don't want to blame the social media. Social media is just a vehicle.
Right.
It's what you're doing on the social media that matters. If you're sitting there comparing yourself, you're doing it just like if you were standing in front of a group and comparing yourself.
Right.
That's an unwise action.
But that's a natural thing to do on social media, right?
Well, I don't know, because I don't do that. The only thing I put on social media is something that inspires people, and then I focus on what's priority to me. I ask myself, I research, write, travel, teach. That's it. I learned that a long time ago. I went to Mary Kay Cosmetic Company in Dallas, Texas, and I spoke to 4,500 women there. And afterwards, I got to meet Mary Kay Ash. And I asked her, I walked up on this, looked like a queen's chair, and I met her and I said, what advice could you give a young aspiring speaker that wants to travel the world? This is about 35 years ago. And she said very graciously, she says, every day, write down the highest priority actions you can do today that will help you fulfill what's most meaningful to you and a dream in your life. And then on the day, make sure they're in small bites, daily actions, and then go and do those and don't stop till those are done. And if they're done and they're complete, add one more, but don't goal overrun by adding too many goals and feel self-defeated every day. And I did that, and I put them on index cards, little 3x5 index cards. And I sat there and I went into a gratitude exercise, thought about what it was. I made sure I wrote things only down when I had tears of gratitude, thinking about what I was grateful for. And I said, what are the highest priority actions I can do today to make the greatest difference and the most meaningful thing that would inspire me most in my life? And I wrote them out, and I kept those in a box, the little cards. And then I went back through all the cards one by one, and I wrote the 7 things down. I tossed the card, took the next card, 7 things down, and I started getting these line, slash, line, slash, to look at what was the most frequent, highest priority thing over a 2-year period. And then I realized it was research, write, travel, teach for me. And then I said, okay, then anytime I'm doing anything less than that, I'm devaluing myself. So I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to hire people around me. I'm going to delegate everything else. And I'm going to do what I'm here and called to do, what inspires me most. How else are you going to live an inspired life if you're not doing the most inspiring things? And boy, was that relieving and liberating to give yourself permission to do what's truly most inspiring, that you spontaneously can't wait to get up in the morning and do. Tap dance to work, as Buffett calls it. If you're there, you're in momentum, and you build momentum, and you have a tremendous amount of energy. Energy is infinite once you recognize that source.
What percentage of people are doing that today in the world?
Very few.
One?
The ones that I get across that message and they start doing it and they start building momentum are growing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not everybody. Most people are extrinsically driven. A young boy in their highest value spontaneously loves doing their video games. But as they go down the value list, they require external motivation. Punishment if you don't do it, reward if you do. People who live by punishment reward, which is the most basic religious and political mechanism out there for the masses, they're not going to go anywhere because they're not going to be fulfilled because they're extrinsically driven all the time. I said on The Secret many years ago, when the voice and the vision on the inside is louder and more profound than all opinions on the outside, now you've mastered your life. You're beginning to master it. But most people are extrinsically driven in doing comparisons, and they're trying to avoid things and seek things. As the Buddha says, the desire for that which is unobtainable and the desire to avoid that which is unavoidable is a source of human suffering. And so we're constantly trying to avoid something that's unavoidable and seeking some fantasy out there, which creates a nightmare, instead of getting objective, realizing life has a pair of opposites, embracing the opposites, the hero and villain within us and around us, and getting on with doing something amazing knowing that there's going to be people supporting and challenging it, and that's the path of maximum growth.
Right. So expect those day-to-day ups and downs, treat them all with a grain of salt, find your intrinsic higher purpose, ideally 3 or 4 things,
Yeah.
and then do those as long as they continue to be, because maybe those change over the time.
They can evolve, but you'll get notice of that.
Right, and do a real hard due diligence on them, like you said, into where you feel the tears. You really emotionally connect with those.
If you're not having a tear of gratitude on a daily basis, you're not being yourself.
About what you want, about something
about
supporting,
your life,
about your
what
life,
you're being, doing, having, everything.